Hello and welcome to Bella Star Astrology. I'm your host and astrologer, Stella. If you are new here, this channel is all about how to use astrology in your everyday life, from monthly horoscopes to educational videos. Please like and subscribe and click on the bell if you would like to be notified as soon as a new video is posted. But without further ado, let's get into the monthly astrology. Now, for my Capricorns, this is your astrology for September 2022. This is such a fun energy for you, more positive than some of the other signs, I would say, and probably more fun. I'm just going to say more fun just because it's ninth house activation and 10th house activation, and Capricorn are all about their career and what all their career can do for them, right? Travel, etc. So moving on, Venus, we begin with, Venus entering Virgo on September 24th, and this is going to enter your ninth house. So, if you haven't already set a plan to travel somewhere, if you are thinking about where you're going to go, this Venus entering Virgo is such a good time for you to go somewhere, for you to visit somewhere, for you to get on a plane and exit not the planet, but definitely the country you're in. Maybe go and enjoy some sun. Maybe go if you're living in the southern hemisphere and it's winter time or something, although it's probably going to be spring soon for you in the southern hemisphere. But anyway, wherever you want to go that makes you feel connected or disconnected rather, right? And that will be September 4th, and Venus is going to bring a lot of luck and spending in those areas. Then Mercury retrograding in Libra on September 9th, it's going to be hard for you just because this is your 10th house, and this is probably the hardest transit in the month. And what you want to do during this time is just be careful how you speak to your bosses, be careful how you approach your work, be careful how you approach your coworkers. You might say or do something that's out of character or maybe a little bit more authoritarian than people are kind of used to. Just be on the lookout for maybe some issues around how your career is advancing. There might be some sort of culmination or some sort of conversations that you're not really interested in that are going to affect your work life. But the good news is that there'll be so many other positive planets in the 10th house that this will just be maybe like a plan for you. So how can you improve your career? What can you do? What has been setting you back in your career? What are the things you have to reevaluate about how you've been approaching your work? And then we move on and we have the full moon entering, or rather the full moon in Pisces on September 10th. And this full moon in Pisces is going to be hitting your third house. What you want to make sure with this full moon in Pisces is just to look out for all of the signs. It's going to be affecting your communication. It's going to be affecting your family, extended family, the activities and interests you might have, as well as the neighbors you might have. It might be that you guys have been planning, you and your neighbors have been planning a block party and this is the time to do it. Or, you've been looking at ways that you can improve, your thinking and your mindset when it comes to how you approach others. And, whether it's finally completing, some sort of learning tasks, or even an ending when it comes to the sort of vehicles that you are driving. There could be a transition in the vehicles that you drive, and maybe purchase of a new vehicle, maybe upgrading of a new vehicle, maybe upgrading the vehicle that you've been having. And I'm not saying that full moons are new beginnings, but they're definitely endings to maybe the vehicle that you have been driving. And maybe by the time the new moon hits in Pisces, you'll be deciding what you're going to drive, right? It's oh, maybe it's time for me to start looking for what I'd like to do to change it. I would just be careful around, some traveling around the full moon in the third house, just because this affects local travel. And, it might be that there's some drama around that. So be careful around that sort of negative energy that the full moon can pull into some of your relationships, especially if you're adding the compounded stress of driving in groups and going somewhere that's a long distance, right? So, anyway, we move on, and the sun enters Libra on September 22nd. Again, like I said, even though Mercury will be retrograde in your 10th house, and I know how important work is for you, Capricorn, the grace is that sun will be there, new moon will be there, and Venus will finally be there by the end of the month. But first, the sun, which moves into Libra on the fall equinox, September 22nd. And this is such a great energy for you to highlight your work accomplishments. Show off what you've been doing. I know you Capricorns love to hide all your progress, but show off what you've been doing. Show off how hard you work. Make sure people know what they are relying on you for. Maybe this is a good time to sort of, because Mercury is in retrograde, evaluate what responsibilities you've had. Maybe it's too much responsibility, or maybe it's too little and you could do more. Evaluate what your work actually is and define it for yourself if you are working independently as an entrepreneur. And maybe it's time you start becoming a boss if you own a business. And so now you want to hire employees, and the sun will highlight this as well. And then we have Mercury going retrograde in Virgo on September 23rd. So it's going to transition from your 10th to your 9th, which really to me communicates that you're going from work and what you're doing for your work and what setbacks you're having at work to the belief systems that might be affecting it. So a lot of times Capricorns, much like our Leo friends out there that work themselves, a lot, you have no limit to the amount of work that you do, being that Aquarius rules your second house. It's an air sign. It's the sign of, justice. And so you feel unjust if you're not working hard enough. Well, guess what? This Mercury retrograde might change that mentality that you have, and maybe relying on more people, maybe changing the relationship you have to work, the ethics you have around work, hopefully for the better, not for a downgrade in ethics ever. Do not advocate that here at Star Astrology, especially since there's so much karma involved when you're following astrology and what could happen if your ethics are downgraded. But definitely with this Mercury retrograde in your 9th house, it could be some hiccups in your travel plans too. Maybe you're doing business travel and it's like everything could go wrong, goes wrong. That's why that sun highlighting your 10th house, you need an assistant to help you. You need an assistant to help you figure all this out so you're not doing this all by yourself, right? And changing that belief system from me to we could be a real highlight in this 9th house activation. And your philosophy around work in general might change. So, moving on, we've got the Mercury retrograde in Virgo on September 23rd. And then we have the new moon in Libra on September 24th. And again, this is why I'm saying it probably has a lot to do with that work life and the belief systems that you have around it. The day after Mercury enters Virgo, the new moon shows up, and it's like maybe all the things that could go wrong went wrong with your work. And now you have this new moon energy to help you decide, hey, how am I going to change my approach to this job? How am I going to change my approach to my coworkers, to my leadership style, etc., so that I can improve all that I'm doing throughout my work life, right? So this new moon is so great for you to set those intentions. If you like scripting, do some scripting around how you want to be a better person around your work or around the work that you're leading, the teams that you're leading, etc. And that new moon will be on September 24th in Libra. And then finally, we have Venus entering Libra, which again, another good sign. Fun. This is a fun month. Forget all the setbacks at work. Venus enters Libra, and if you've actually done the work, if you've actually seen yourself change in a fundamental way. This Venus entering Libra will give you a reward, will bring rewards to you for it, whether it's improved connections with your workplace, improve position, raise in your income, a raise in your position, even maybe attracting a life partner, whether you guys make it official or not, because it does deal with your image in the world, right? And your standing in the world, how you approach your business. So that Venus and Libra is such good energy for all those wonderful things. And finally, Capricorn, I just want to say thank you for listening to this video. Please check out the link in the description with the playlist of all the other signs for your sun, moon, or rising. And most importantly, please like, please subscribe, and click on the notification bell if you'd like to stay tuned on all the videos that I post. Thank you for watching for the September 2022 horoscopes.